Your phone buzzes. You already know you're going to look. You tell yourself it's the last time tonight. It never is. But the real answer for why you can't put it down is far stranger than willpower or addiction or bad habits. It starts with a pigeon in a box. In the 1950s, the psychologist B.F. Skinner ran a simple experiment. He put pigeons in a box with a lever. Peck the lever, get a food pellet. Simple enough. But then Skinner changed one variable. Instead of a reward every time, he made the reward random. Sometimes the pigeon pecked and got nothing. Sometimes it pecked 10 times before food appeared. What happened next surprised everyone. The pigeons didn't peck less. They pecked more. Obsessively. Compulsively. Far more than the pigeons who got a reward every single time. Skinner had discovered something called a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. Translated into plain English, it means this. Unpredictable rewards are more addictive than predictable ones. Your brain isn't wired to crave certainty. It's wired to crave the chase. Now look at your phone again. Every time you refresh your feed, you're pulling that same lever. Sometimes there's nothing. A boring photo. An ad. Sometimes there's something incredible. A message from someone you love. A video that makes you laugh out loud. You never know which one you're going to get. And that not knowing is exactly the point. Why does uncertainty grip you harder than certainty ever could? The answer lives in a part of your brain most people have never heard of. It's called the nucleus accumbens, and it's your brain's reward center. For decades, scientists assumed this region lit up when you actually received a reward. But research from Stanford neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky, along with earlier work on dopamine by researcher Wolfram Schultz, revealed something almost backward. Dopamine doesn't spike when you get the reward. It spikes in anticipation of it. The chemical rush isn't about winning. It's about the possibility of winning. That means the moment right before your phone screen lights up is neurologically more powerful than the moment after. You are not addicted to your phone. You are addicted to not knowing what's on it. Think about what that means for a second. Every app you use was not built by accident. It was built by people who understood Skinner's pigeons better than you understand yourself. The former Google design ethicist Tristan Harris has spent years warning about exactly this. He has described how features like the pull to refresh gesture were modeled after slot machines. You pull down, you wait half a second. The content loads. That half-second delay isn't a bug. It's a slot machine mechanism dressed up as a loading screen. Somewhere, a team decided that a fraction of a second of suspense would keep you hooked more effectively than instant delivery. And it worked. Researcher Natasha Schüll spent over a decade studying gambling addiction in Las Vegas before turning her attention to smartphones. In her research, she found that slot machine designers use a term called the ludic loop, a closed cycle of repetitive play that keeps a person locked in, disconnected from time, disconnected from their surroundings. Sound familiar? It should. It's the same loop you enter when you tell yourself you'll check your phone for just 1 minute and 45 minutes disappear. Gamblers in Schüll's studies described a state they called the zone, a place where nothing else exists except the next pull, the next spin, the next possibility. They weren't chasing money. Many of them said they'd be disappointed if they actually won because winning would end the session. They were chasing the loop itself. Does that sound like anyone scrolling a feed at 1 in the morning, not even reading the posts anymore, just pulling and pulling and pulling? But here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Your ancestors evolved this exact reward system for a completely different reason. It had nothing to do with notifications. It had everything to do with survival. Picture an early human foraging in a forest 100,000 years ago. Food wasn't guaranteed. Some bushes had berries. Some didn't. Some days, hunting worked. Most days, it didn't. The brain that survived best wasn't the brain that gave up after one failed search. It was the brain that kept checking, kept looking, kept pecking the lever, so to speak, because the next bush, the next hunt, the next attempt might be the one that paid off. That instinct kept your ancestors alive. Unpredictable reward systems trained the human brain to persist, to explore, to never fully give up on a search that might yield food, safety, or connection. It is one of the oldest survival mechanisms we carry, older than language, older than fire, older than almost anything you'd call human culture. Anthropologists studying modern foraging societies have found the same pattern still at work. A search that some tie